It's been a while since I brought up Maxine Waters on my channel, and this is probably the first and few times that I will bring up Megan the Stallion on my channel, but I could not allow this opportunity to pass me by when I came across this on my Twitter account. And shout out to Nicole's View, because that's whose account I saw it on, and said I have to talk about this because this comment that Maxine Waters made, or this letter that she wrote to Megan the Stallion, is very disturbing to me. And it also shows that there are people of the older generation that literally need to sit down somewhere. Like, when their time has passed, they need to hang it up and let the others who come after them take care of this. So Maxine Waters wrote this letter of quote unquote encouragement to Megan the Stallion, basically praising her in as being some kind of role model for women and girls. I'm sitting here saying to myself, Maxine Waters, you are closer to 80 than you are to 20. And Megan Thee Stallion is old enough to be your granddaughter, maybe your great granddaughter. And you're telling me, and you're telling us that you believe that she is a role model after all the stuff that she has said and has come out with just this year alone. And when I say that, I'm talking about that WAP song. And she's an inspiration. Now, mind you, Maxine Waters had all the smoke for black men during the election and saying how black men will be deemed traitors if we don't vote for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. But then to turn back around a month later and write this letter of encouragement to Megan the Stallion and say that she's a role model for women. Let's get into it. There is always so much conversation about who women should be and how they should present themselves in society. And when women step outside of that box, break that mold, or deviate from society's predetermined conditions, there's a lot of discussion, judgment, and even condemnation. And see, here's the thing. Thanks to feminism, a lot of women have lost their way. And they've gone out of their lane and said and done things and then try to mask it in the guise of feminism. Basically, a lot of them go out of their way to be a brat and just a straight up unlikable bitch. Oh, did I just say that? Yes, I did. But let's continue. Women are told that if they behave a certain way, they won't be accepted, first by men and then by society at large. Let me remind you that unfortunately I have to read this article coming from Madame Noir. So if it sounds like it's coming from a very gynocratic standpoint, that's because this is where it's coming from. Trust and believe, I didn't want to read it from here, but as far as I can see, well, this is the article that was posted, so I'm reading from it. Just know that I may not agree with a good 99% of the stuff they're about to say. But that hasn't been the case for rappers Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion. Both women are sexually expressive in their music, costumes, and stage performances, yet their authenticity and character have actually made them more sought after, even outside of the music industry. Both Megan and Cardi have transcended the rap community and are often tapped to discuss socio-political issues as well. Let me remind you that Cardi B got Billboard Woman of the Year, I think. This is a huge shift, and not in a good way. And I said, there was a quote where she gave when they were interviewing her, and I quote, she says, "I can be political and pop my pussy too." It might be a little lost in translation, but that's basically what she said. And some of you probably saw that quote. I'm like, I said the generation behind me, Gen Z, y'all can have her. That's as far as I'm concerned. In addition to her political commentary, Cardi has held audience with presidential candidates and even President-elect Joe Biden. Earlier this year, after she was the victim of a shooting at the hands of Tory Lanez, she wrote and produced an op-ed about the lack of protection for black women in the New York Times. The girls are multifaceted and powerful. Influential people are taking notice. Yesterday, Meg shared that she received a letter from Congresswoman Maxine Waters, and it served as one of the highlights of her year. In the letter dated November 12, 2020, Waters wrote, "Dear Megan, I read the op-ed you you wrote that appeared in the New York Times recently, and I can't thank you enough for bringing much needed attention to the plight of black women, not just here in the United States, but everywhere. You are so right that black women have paved the way and have done so by leading with courage and bravery. Well, if you look at the community at large, what has it been led into exactly? And Maxine Waters, from stories I've heard from several people who live in California, you are the last person to talk about some kind of inspiration. I'm just saying. Now, I don't know how Maxine Waters was back then, but the Maxine Waters of today, the jury is still out on that. There's also this notion which you touched upon, that we as black women have the ability to bear a heavier burden than everyone else in this society. That notion contributes to the lack of care and attention to the issues that specifically affect us. See, this also reminds me now of when Ice Cube went on that Fox Soul thing with them harpies, when you had Claudia Jordan coming out the window talking about, well, we see what you wrote in the contract with Black America for black people, but what are you going to do specifically for black women? Well, if you want something, and Cube said, well, if you want something specifically for black women, here, I'll give you this. Here's a pen, here's a pad. Carve out what you want specifically for black women. I'll look it over and we'll go from there. Well, that was the response. He says, what else did it say? While we are too often overlooked, there is no doubt that black women are a glue for our families and communities. That glue must be wearing off, or it must be some cheap ass glue, like the glue some put in there. You know, I'm not going to go, oh hell, I'm going to go there because I'm over it. Like some of the glue that some put in their heads for them whack weaves. And a crucial part of the fabric of this country. We see that in your career and your tremendous success despite the obstacles that come your way. I write all this to say that I am incredibly proud of you and how you use your voice to uplift black women. I know that black women and girls everywhere thank you for the way you so fiercely have their back. I want you to know that I have your back too. I hope that during these trying times you take comfort in knowing that I am fighting for you and all black women every single day. Stay well, keep fighting, and take care. We need your voice in this fight. Warm regards, Maxine Waters, members of Congress. Now, I have a question to all the black women that are listening to this video right now, to the sound of my voice. Do you agree with a word that she just said in this letter to Megan Thee Stallion? Because I can tell you as a black man, I could vomit over this letter right now. I really could. Like, she actually helms up Megan Thee Stallion, of all people, as a beacon of light and inspiration to black women and girls. A woman that made a song about her wet ass snatch with another individual who should not be held up in high regards, but unfortunately she is. These are the kind of women that don't need to procreate. I'm just being completely honest. The article goes on, says, love to see it. Like I said, this is coming from Madame Noir, so my opinions are definitely and highly different from theirs. There is nothing like generations of black women connecting over the desire to see us all win. Truly warms my heart. If you're familiar with Maxine Waters' life in the public office, you know this is not the first time she's lent her voice in her support to a young rapper. Not only did she call Tupac her favorite rapper in 2017, her defense of his art and rap in general dates back to 1994, when Congress was discussing the impact of gangster rap and whether or not it should be censored. Los Angeles Times reported Waters supported the art form, placing her undeniably on the right side of history when it came to this issue. See, that's what I said. The Maxine Waters of today is way different than the Maxine Waters of back then. And I know what the writer of this article was trying to do, because they were trying to counter it where people couldn't come at it from a standpoint where it seemed like they're being biased. So they pulled out the Tupac reference to try to mask it. I see what they were trying to do. But still, for her to say that she's an inspiration to black women and girls. Okay. She says it would be a foolhardy mistake to single out poets as the cause of America's problems. These are our children, and they're invented a new art form to describe their pains, fears, and frustrations with us as adults. Just because we don't like the symbols they use or the way they look, we should not allow that to cause us to embark on a course of censorship. We're happy to see that Auntie, because they stay calling her Auntie, is still down for the youth demographic. That's all fine and well, but them comments that she made about black men being traitors if we didn't vote for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, that still resonates with me. And that just happened. That actually happened the same month as her sending this letter out to Megan Thee Stallion. In the same month, like literally, probably just a week or so or days apart. Because I think she made that comment in November. I never made a video about it, but that's what she said. She said that black men, would be seen as traitors if we didn't vote for Joe Biden. And black men have looked at her differently ever since. Well, some of them have been looking at her differently prior to that. But yeah, this is ridiculous. I don't agree with this letter or whatever you want to call it. And I think many black women don't agree either, because I was looking at the responses or the ones that they did get. And many people was like, is she okay? Does she need to take a nap? Is she up to date on her meds? Because to say Megan Thee Stallion is some kind of beacon or inspiration for black girls, that's a huge hindrance. I don't think many black women who are of sound mind will agree with that either. And I'm looking at the responses and people are clowning it, and rightfully so. But yeah, that's not it. That's not gonna fly. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this down in the comments. Like, share, subscribe. Make sure sorry about that. And I will talk to you in the next one.